So I was watching the Pope's apology. I actually didn't get a chance to see the actual apology. I watched it afterwards, and I watched some responses. I saw responses to it online, and I was most interested in hearing about how Indigenous people received the apology. And then I went on to see how other people of faith understood the apology. And in all groups, there is a very, very mixed reaction. It seems that among Indigenous people, it just didn't feel like a full apology, mainly because he didn't talk about the whole church's complicity. He said some Christians, and that felt like a dismissal for a lot of people of him not taking the full impact of the Roman Catholic Church's role in the residential schools abuses. On May 4th, 1493, Pope Alexander VI decreed that any land that was not Christian could be taken up by a Christian country. And so any inhabitants of that land it didn't matter. It was, they discovered the land, as it were. So the doctrine of discovery was the main impulse behind Christian nations coming, say, to North America from England and France and discovering a new world, rendering the existing inhabitants as unhuman or subhuman, and that these new Christians were entitled to that land because of this papal decree from 1493. So the Indigenous people of the land want this doctrine repudiated. They want it taken back. They want this papal decree from 500 years ago to be stricken from the records. I can totally see why they want to do that. And a lot of other churches and faith groups have already done so. The United Church of Canada has. I'm pretty sure the Anglican Church of Canada has. And I know our own Evangelical Lutheran Church in Canada has. I think that was in 2015. We actively repudiated the doctrine of discovery. It's mainly because to recognize Indigenous people as being human, they were here first. They were a fully functioning society on this land until we come. They were in no way discovered. This land was in no way discovered. If it was discovered, it was discovered by the people who were already living here and had that land taken away from them, stolen from them, and had millions of people murdered along the way. So I can totally see why the Indigenous people were quite disturbed and upset that Pope Francis came from this far away from repudiating the doctrine of discovery, but he ended up not doing so. We're hoping he will do so while he's here this week, but we'll see what happens with the doctrine of discovery. And I'm also seeing a division among our Indigenous friends around the issue of Pope Francis receiving the headdress, the bonnet, from Chief Wilton Littlechild. Because I have to admit, when I first saw Pope Francis in headdress, I found it kind of jarring. That symbol of honor given to what they were perceiving as the chief colonizer, the chief oppressor. For Chief Littlechild, it was a sign of reconciliation, but for a lot of folks, it was really deeply troubling to see the Pope bestowed that honor. And I'm not going to comment on the appropriateness or inappropriateness of Chief Littlechild bestowing the headdress on Pope Francis, except to say that there is a strong diversity of opinion and thought among First Nations people on that particular act. And for me, that's been it's been a learning experience as I learn and grow within the reconciliation process, hearing about the diversity within First Nations communities, but also the things they share together as well. And so this Pope's visit for me has been one of eye-opening and learning, as well as seeing how far we still have to go in terms of reconciliation. Because this is still early and it's only a first step, but we'll see how our denomination and our church moves forward in reconciliation in our own way, with our own relationships with Indigenous peoples, and then move forward from there and to see what real reconciliation can look like among our own faith community and the people of the land.